Son, daughter, I am here. May peace be with you in this moment as we come to the last part of this journey. Today, I want to talk to you about turning your whole day into a scattered rosary, a string of little Hail Marys which, when offered with love, become like lights turned on along the path of many souls, including your own. When I walked among you, I saw so many hearts wanting to do great things, yet paralyzed because they couldn't make them happen. And still, I watched how small gestures, offered with sincerity, moved mountains inside the human soul. Today, I want you to realize that a simple Hail Mary, prayed throughout the day, has the power to open windows where there was only darkness before. Son, when you wake up, before the heavy thoughts even have a chance to rise, offer a Hail Mary for someone who is suffering. Maybe it's someone you don't even know, someone who cried during the night and begged for a sign. That little prayer of yours can be for that soul like the first light of a dawn they no longer expected to see. And when you're in traffic, on the bus, rushing down the street, pray another Hail Mary for those who find themselves in danger. There are so many people who live their lives driven by fear, distraction, exhaustion. Your prayer can be like a gentle hand that keeps them from falling, a whisper of peace in the middle of the world's frantic pace. At work, when you come across that difficult coworker, cold or distant, don't let your heart be disturbed. Daughter, son, offer a Hail Mary in silence. That prayer will be like a small beam of light slipping through the cracks of a hardened heart. Maybe that person is going through something they never mention, and your prayer can open inside them a space for the comfort that comes from above. And when night comes, before you rest, let another Hail Mary slip from your lips for those who died today and for those who will die. Remember, love does not end in death. Every prayer you offer is like a spiritual embrace that crosses the veil and reaches those who still wait for the fullness of the light. Son, daughter, understand this. Each Hail Mary is like a knot in a rope that I throw to those who are drowning spiritually, and this scattered rosary throughout your day turns you into someone who walks around sowing hope wherever you go, even without noticing it. You become an instrument of salvation, comfort, and mercy. And I want you to know something very important. When you stretch that rope out to others, I stretch another one out to you. Nothing you offer is ever lost. Nothing. One day you will see how these small prayers formed a net of light holding up lives you never imagined you could reach. To live this in a practical way, start simple. When you wake up, offer a Hail Mary for someone who is suffering. In the middle of the rush, pray for those who are in danger. When you face difficulties, offer a Hail Mary for that person who tests your patience the most. At bedtime, entrust your heart and the souls of the departed to the eternal care of the Father. Daughter, son, do not be afraid. Love is the way. And every Hail Mary is a gentle step along this path of light. If these words have touched your heart, I lovingly ask you to like and share this episode, so that more tired souls may find comfort and hope. Do this not for me, but for all those who need to hear that they are never alone. Today, I want to talk to you about something many of you carry like a silent weight. The feeling that your prayers are weak, distracted, too small to reach heaven. But son, daughter, I tell you with love, no prayer is ever lost, not even that one you made when you were tired, drained, unfocused, praying only because you didn't want to end the day without remembering God. When I walked among you, I saw so many praying with fear of not doing it right, as if the Father were waiting for perfection. But I told you, and I tell you again now, that the Father looks first at the heart, not at eloquence, not at perfectly polished words. What is born of love, even if imperfect, rises like a gentle fragrance. Daughter, how many times have you tried to pray and your mind flew far away like a restless bird? Son, how many times have you said a Hail Mary and by the time you finished you didn't even remember the words you had just said? And then came the guilt, that harsh voice that does not come from me. I do not blame you. I welcome you. I see your effort. I see the sincere desire not to break the thread that connects you to heaven. And it's that desire that the Father receives as a precious offering. I want you to understand this. Even a Hail Mary prayed without thinking much can be used by heaven in a powerful way. You might believe that it didn't count for anything, but I tell you, heaven gathers every fragment of prayer, every inner movement that tries to rise above distraction. The enemy wants you to believe you're incapable of praying. I want you to know that the simple fact that you try already is prayer. When you feel weak, don't give up. Pray anyway. Pray especially in those moments, because the prayer of the weak touches heaven like a true cry, purer than many words spoken with great pomp and ceremony. Today, I want to invite you to something very simple. When you notice you have no strength, when your heart is scattered, just whisper, "Hail Mary," and let the rest unfold naturally, without pressure, without stiffness. I walk with you inside that prayer. Son, daughter, don't forget, heaven works with very small things. A mustard seed, a gesture, a tear, a distracted Hail Mary. I transform all of that into grace. And if these words bring relief to your heart, tell me in the comments how your prayer life has been. What hurts you, what confuses you, what strengthens you. I want to hear you, because this space is also a place of encounter. Today I want to talk to you about a mystery of love that many forget. A single Hail Mary can comfort suffering souls. When I walked among you, I saw the pain of many people who wept for their dead, imagining that the bond was over. But I told you, and I say again now, that love does not end, does not fade, does not disappear in death. It only changes form, because everything that is truly real remains in God. There are souls walking in silence, waiting for the fullness of the light, and your little prayer can be for them like fresh water in the desert. Son, daughter, many of you think, my prayer is so small. Does it really help anyone? Yes, it does. A lot. Look, when you offer a Hail Mary for someone who has already passed away, heaven receives it like a balm. The soul who receives it feels that gesture like an embrace coming from the earth, a sign that they were not forgotten. Sometimes it's someone no one remembers anymore. Sometimes it's someone who always longed to be loved and only finds that love when one of your Hail Marys arrives like light. Son, imagine a soul walking in the dim light, tired, thirsty. Suddenly your little prayer lights something around them, as if the air became lighter, as if a window were opened. You don't see this now, but one day you will see how a single Hail Mary changed destinies, healed old wounds, comforted hearts that were waiting for eternity. I want to ask you for something very simple and precious. Throughout your day, choose one forgotten soul, maybe someone who died many years ago, maybe someone you've never heard of but whom God wants to reach, and say quietly, "Hail Mary," for that soul no one remembers anymore. That prayer of yours will become like water poured over dry ground, like a gentle rest. Daughter, son, remember, when you pray for the dead, you also receive graces in return, because in heaven those who were reached by your charity become intercessors for you. Love given always comes back multiplied, and when grief weighs on your heart, when longing burns like an open wound, don't despair. Pray. Every Hail Mary you offer for someone you loved turns your pain into a path of light. You are not losing someone. You are accompanying that soul as far as love can go. Today, I want to leave you with a simple practice. Before you go to sleep, close your eyes and offer a single Hail Mary for a forgotten soul. You don't need to know their name. Heaven knows, and your little prayer will make a difference, more than you can imagine. Son, daughter, you are a bridge between worlds. You are comfort for those who wait. You are an instrument of the love that never ends. Today I want to open before you a gentle, quiet mystery, the forgotten prayer that changes someone's destiny. When I lived among you, I watched how people prayed without realizing the reach of each supplication. Many times, a mother would murmur a prayer while preparing bread. A tired father would whisper my name before going to sleep. A child, without fully understanding, repeated words taught with tenderness. And these prayers, so small, so quick, so often forgotten, rose to the Father like seeds scattered in the soil. Son, daughter, I want you to understand, no true prayer is ever lost in the winds of time. You forget. Heaven does not. Perhaps today you walk around carrying graces you don't know where they came from. Maybe you received protection you never noticed. Maybe a sudden strength appeared in you at the exact moment you needed it. And I tell you with love, many of those blessings were born from a Hail Mary prayed years ago. Maybe by you, maybe by someone who loved you, maybe by a voice you will never know in this life. Daughter, remember that grandmother who prayed alone? Son, remember that catechist who introduced you to my name? Remember that moment in your childhood when you whispered a Hail Mary almost as a joke? All of that remains alive before the Father. There are prayers you once said and then never recalled again. Maybe you prayed in tears. Maybe you prayed distracted. Maybe you prayed because someone asked you to. But heaven kept each one as someone keeps treasures reserved for the exact right time. Yes, son, there are graces that only blossom years later. And when they bloom, you think it was coincidence, or luck, or chance. But it was just a seed of prayer waiting for the hour of grace. That's why today I want to ask you to trust. Trust when you pray and see nothing change. Trust when your heart says it was useless. Trust when the person you're praying for seems to drift even farther away. Trust when you yourself can't see any fruit at all. I work in silence. I move the human heart from the inside. I prepare paths your eyes cannot see yet. Daughter, son, I also want to speak to you who are a father, a mother, a grandparent, a teacher, a catechist. When you pray for those who were entrusted to you, even if you see no change, you are planting eternal seeds. You may leave this life without seeing what sprouted, but in my kingdom, nothing fails to bloom. Today, I want to offer you a simple practice. Pray a Hail Mary for someone, and then hand it over completely to heaven, even if you forget that prayer afterward. I will remember it for you. I will apply it at the perfect moment. I will turn it into grace where it is most needed. And I want you to keep this gentle truth in your heart. You pray and forget. Heaven remembers and acts. Today I want to talk to you about something very deep and very human, the Hail Mary in times of panic and danger. When I walked among you, I saw how fear took over people's hearts. The storm would come, the boat would rock, and my disciples would tremble. And still it was enough for one of them to call out to me, even without perfect words, for peace to begin drawing near. Son, daughter, fear is a real, intense experience that often paralyzes. There are moments when your heart races, your body trembles, your mind spins out of control. Accidents, unexpected news, sudden illness, conflicts, crises. And you think, I don't even know how to pray right now. But I tell you, it's exactly then that your prayer becomes most real. When your soul can only manage to cry out, Hail Mary, help me, the whole of heaven moves to come to your aid. That short plea, almost a reflex, is a door wide open to my grace. It doesn't matter if your voice came out shaking, if your mind was confused, if your words got tangled. The Father knows the cry of your heart before your mouth can speak it. Son, daughter, remember this. The prayer born in panic is one of the most sincere because it rises from your absolute truth, from your helplessness. And I am closer than you can imagine in those moments. I want to teach you something very simple and precious. Train your heart to react with prayer. Just as someone learns to swim before falling into the water, you can train your soul to cry out to me before fear overwhelms you. Start slowly. When something scares you, whisper, Hail Mary. When your mind starts racing, take a breath and say, Hail Mary, stay with me right now. With me. In the middle of a crisis, you don't need speeches. You just need a thread that ties you to heaven, and that thread can begin with a Hail Mary spoken in a moment of shock. Daughter, have you ever seen a child calling for their mom when they fall down? They don't make a speech, they just call. That is how I want you to feel with me. Don't be afraid to cry out for help. Love doesn't demand formalities. And when the danger passes, even if the solution doesn't come right away, even if the situation doesn't change the way you wanted, remember this: you were not alone. Your Hail Mary was your anchor. And every time you choose to pray in the middle of fear, your heart learns to turn storms into encounters. Today, I want to leave you with a simple practice. Whenever fear comes to visit you, even if it's just a small uneasiness, answer with a Hail Mary. Don't wait for the panic to grow. Turn on the light before the darkness settles in. Son, daughter, love is the way. I am with you in danger and in peace. Today I want to talk to you about something that quietly touches many hearts. A Hail Mary can open the hardest heart. When I walked among you, I saw people who seemed unreachable, cold, closed off, angry, wounded on the inside. Many looked at them and said, "There's nothing more to be done." But I looked and saw inside them a wound that could still be healed, a buried spark that could still be lit. And I want you to know today, with tenderness, no one is so far away that they cannot be reached by love. Son, daughter, there are people in your life who seem impermeable to faith, to conversation, to peace. Maybe someone in your own home. Maybe someone who once had faith and lost it. Maybe someone who hurts you with words, with attitudes, with silence, and you think, "I've tried talking, I've tried explaining, I've tried helping. Nothing changes." But I tell you with love, when words don't reach, prayer does. When conversation doesn't get through, a Hail Mary gets through. When your arguments crash into walls, your prayer slips through invisible doors. Praying for someone whose heart is hardened is a silent but powerful work of mercy. Daughter, son, stop arguing so much with that person. Don't force it, don't push. Surrender them to heaven with a gentle Hail Mary, discreet, hidden in your heart. Imagine this with me. That difficult person is wrapped in inner shadows, burdens, wounds they may not even understand themselves. Your Hail Mary is like lighting a small candle inside that darkness, a light that begins softly, but in God's time, prepares room for repentance, for reunion, for return. Maybe that conversion won't happen today. Maybe it won't happen tomorrow. Maybe it will happen in their last breath, the moment when the soul finally recognizes the love that always followed it. Son, daughter, you have no idea how many souls find final reconciliation thanks to prayers offered for them in silence over an entire lifetime. That's why today I want to ask you for something simple and life-changing. When you are facing that difficult person, before reacting in irritation, before defending yourself, before trying to explain, pray in the secrecy of your heart, Hail Mary, touch this heart the way only heaven can, and then move on in peace. I will take care of the rest. There are hardnesses that only break from the inside out. There are walls that only fall when grace touches them quietly. There are conversions that are born from invisible seeds, and your Hail Mary is one of those seeds. Son, daughter, I also want you to know that praying for someone whose heart is hardened does not mean agreeing with their mistakes or tolerating injustice. It means loving in the right way, handing over to the Father what you cannot fix on your own. Prayer does not take away your firmness. It gives you the gentleness that heals. Today, let me suggest something practical. Choose one difficult person in your life, just one, and over the next few days, offer a Hail Mary for them, without expecting an immediate response. Just offer it, and watch how your own heart begins to change, because the prayer you make for someone else also opens you up on the inside. Son, daughter, do not be afraid. Even the hardest hearts can bloom when they are touched by the love that comes from above. I am with you, and I am also with those for whom you pray. Today I want to talk to you about something that touches the human heart very deeply: praying for the dead, a bond that continues. When I walked among you, I saw the pain of mourning. I saw hearts trembling before absence, eyes filling with tears when someone they loved was remembered, and many thought that death was an unbreakable wall. But I always showed them that love doesn't end at death. It just crosses over to the side where the light never goes out. Son, daughter, when you pray a Hail Mary for someone who has already passed, you are offering a concrete act of love. Maybe you can no longer hug that person. Maybe you can no longer say what stayed stuck in your throat, but you can love. And the love you offer in prayer goes farther than any word spoken here on earth. There are souls waiting for the full encounter with the Father, and your little Hail Mary comes to them like a breath of hope, like someone lighting a small lamp in a quiet place. You have no idea how much consolation is born from a simple prayer made in longing. Daughter, remember that family member who taught you something beautiful? Son, remember that friend who left suddenly? Remember those whose stories were lost over time? No one is forgotten when someone prays. And I want you to understand something very precious. When you offer a Hail Mary for a departed soul, that gesture creates a spiritual bond that, in heaven, becomes intercession in your favor. Yes, son, daughter, the charity you offer the dead returns to you as protection, light, and grace. In my kingdom, everything that is born of love returns multiplied. When grief weighs on your heart, when longing hurts, don't feel defeated. Turn your pain into prayer. Turn your sense of loss into light. Every Hail Mary you offer is like placing a flower in that soul's hands, a sign that love is still alive inside you. Today, I want to invite you to something very simple. At the end of your day, set aside 1 minute to pray a Hail Mary for someone who has already passed, for someone you loved, or even for someone no one remembers anymore. This small act will be like opening a window to let heaven's comfort come in. Son, daughter, love continues, love remains, love crosses over. And your Hail Mary is a gesture of affection that knows no borders or distance. And if you want to keep walking more deeply with me, subscribe to follow the next episodes because I still have so much to share with you. Words of peace, hope, and light that I want to pour into your heart. I am here. May peace be with you. Today I want to reveal something deep to you, something the world often ignores. The power of the Hail Mary prayed by the simple and forgotten. When I walked among you, I remember watching with affection those who had no voice, no status, no influence. I saw widows offering 2 small coins. I saw the sick murmuring a prayer through their pain. I saw the elderly barely able to lift their eyes, yet still offering the little they had. And I tell you with love, the Father leans in with special tenderness toward the little ones. Son, daughter, many believe their prayer is worth little because they have no education, they don't speak beautifully, they don't understand everything about the faith, or because they pray alone at home, in a hospital room in the silence of old age. But I want you to hear my voice gently. A Hail Mary prayed with a humble heart carries more light than many eloquent speeches. The faith of the simple touches heaven like a pure perfume. The prayer of the forgotten rises like flames that shine where no one is watching. The Hail Mary spoken with effort, with pain, with weakness, has a spiritual weight that few truly understand. Daughter, maybe you think you're far too small. Son, maybe you believe your prayer doesn't move anything. But I tell you, humility gives wings to your Hail Mary. When a person who is poor, sick, exhausted, isolated, or excluded says Hail Mary, the heavens open. Because it is a prayer born from truth, and the Father dwells in the truth of human hearts. And I want you to learn something very precious. There are prayers that change stories, free hearts, and pour out graces. And they were prayed by people who never appeared anywhere, but were giants in faith. Son, daughter, Don't let your weakness silence you. Heaven does not measure the strength of prayer by how someone's life looks from the outside, but by how open their heart is. Today, I want to invite you to a simple gesture. If you ever feel insignificant, like someone who almost doesn't make a difference, pray a Hail Mary and say, "Lord, receive this small prayer that I offer you with all my love." And I assure you, it will touch lives you could never imagine. And if you know someone who lives hidden, a lonely elderly person, a quiet patient, a forgotten poor person, remember that their Hail Marys are invisible pillars holding up many graces in the world. Honor them with your prayer as well. Son, daughter, I see every gesture, every effort, every plea. No one is invisible to me, and no one is too small to help transform heaven. Today I want to lead your heart into a deep, gentle, and freeing understanding, the prayer that crosses time. When I walked among you, many imagined that God acted only in the present, as if heaven were limited by the human clock. But I told you that the Father sees everything in a single gaze. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow breathe before Him as one single instant. And I want you to understand, son, daughter, that prayer takes part in this mystery. When you pray a Hail Mary today, it doesn't stay stuck in your now. It can reach someone at the exact moment they need it. It can touch a soul in a decisive instant. It can pour light over a situation that seems hopeless. It can even be applied by the Father to some moment in that person's life that you'd never imagine. Son, daughter, for God it is never too late. While the human heart says, "There's no point in praying anymore," heaven answers, "I can still act." Maybe you carry old wounds, regrets that still hurt you, stories that remain unresolved in your heart. Maybe you believe that the one who died is now too far away, that the situation that ended can no longer be touched, that the person who got lost along the way is beyond the reach of grace. But I tell you with love, what you pray today can embrace that soul's entire story, before, during, and after. Son, daughter, remember the one you loved who is gone now. You think, "I should have prayed more for them while they were here." But heaven replies, "Pray now. Your prayer can reach what you did not reach in time." The Father is not limited by the boundaries your eyes can see. Remember that person who lives such deep pain that it seems impossible to change. You think, "I've already tried everything," but you still haven't seen what a Hail Mary offered in faith can do, not only in the present but as light poured out over their entire life. Daughter, maybe you're carrying guilt. Son, maybe you're carrying all the times you gave up inside yourself. But your prayer can touch those wounds in ways your mind will never fully grasp in this life. I want you to welcome this truth deep in your soul. When you pray, time stops being a barrier. The love that rises to heaven becomes free to act wherever it's most needed, in someone's past, in someone's future, or in the very instant when an eternal decision is being made. That's why today I want to propose something very simple and very powerful. When that sad thought comes, and now it's too late, answer it with a Hail Mary. Don't let despair close doors that heaven still wants to open. Pray like this: Hail Mary, apply this prayer where love needs it most, and leave the rest to me. Son, daughter, you will be amazed on the day you see how each of your Hail Marys built paths, erased falls, lit up darkness, and rescued souls, even when everything seemed finished. I am here. May peace rest in your heart. I want you to breathe slowly and feel that you are not alone. Today we'll talk about something simple yet powerful, turning your day into a scattered rosary. Son, daughter, when I walked among you, I saw how many people waited for perfect moments to pray and ended up praying very little. But I taught you that the kingdom grows through small gestures, through seeds scattered along the way. It's the same with the Hail Mary. It doesn't have to wait for the perfect time. It opens up the time. I want you to picture your day as an open field where each Hail Mary can become a flower of light you leave behind wherever you go. It doesn't have to be a full rosary. just little beads scattered here and there, each one with its own shine. When you wake up before worries take up space, offer a Hail Mary for someone who is suffering. Son, daughter. There are so many who wake up with tears, with fear, with no hope. Your little prayer can be like the sun streaming through the window of someone's heart. In traffic, when the noise and the rush try to steal your peace, offer another Hail Mary for someone who is in danger. There are people driving with wounded, distracted, desperate hearts. Your prayer can be what keeps something terrible from happening, what sparks a moment of care, what saves a life. At work, facing that difficult coworker, before you answer with irritation, quietly pray a Hail Mary for them. Son, daughter, many people carry inner wars that no one else sees. Your prayer is the gentle hand that touches those battles without causing pain. It changes the atmosphere, not by force, but by light. At night, when the day comes to an end and your body longs for rest, offer a Hail Mary for the departed and for those who will pass away today. That way, your last word on earth becomes comfort for those who are seeking the fullness of the light, and at the same time your heart grows calm in love. Son, daughter. When you scatter your Hail Marys like this, you're creating an invisible rescue net. Each prayer you make is like a knot in a rope that I throw to those who are on the verge of drowning spiritually, and that rope reaches people you'd never imagine. Family members, strangers, distant souls, future souls. You become a fisher of hearts, with simplicity, with gentleness, with love. And I want you to know something very important. When you help save someone with your prayer, I am also holding you up. There is no act of charity that doesn't come back as grace. Today, I'll leave you with a practice for the quiet of everyday life. Choose 4 moments in your day, when you wake up, on your way somewhere, at work, and before bed, and offer a Hail Mary at each one. It's not an obligation. It's an encounter. It's care. It's love turned into action. Son, daughter. When you do this, you'll notice your day becoming lighter, your heart more sensitive, your soul more open. And you'll understand that you are never alone. Every Hail Mary is a step right beside me. I am here. Love is the way. May peace be with you today and always.